watch why can't Squidward escape his job. If you're new to the channel and haven't hit that subscribe button yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We on the road to 1,300 subs. I appreciate everybody that clicks on this video. With that being said, let's get into it.
Squidward Q Tentacles hates his job, but for some reason he can't quit. Well, the truth is, someone is controlling Squidward, making it so he can't leave his job. Join me as we figure out why Squidward can't quit his job. So it's no secret that
I can't quit my job either. Who gonna pay the bills?
Squidward hates his job, but why would he be working there if he hates it? And before we go on, I know the show needs Squidward to be the cashier at the Krusty Krab to keep its humor. But thinking from Squidward's perspective, why would you work a job that you hate? Why wouldn't you just quit? Part 1. Squidward quitting his job. Surprisingly, Squidward has quit his job on numerous occasions. In the episode Big Pink Loser, Squidward quit his job after Patrick was hired by Mr. Krabs. For some reason, he seems happy to leave his position, but towards the end of the episode, we see him rejoin the Krusty crew after SpongeBob and Patrick leave. Just before going back, we see him reading the newspaper showing he had nothing better to do and probably wasn't able to get a job. Then, in the episode Bossy Boots, Squidward ends up quitting his job after Pearl changes the Krusty Krab. We don't see him get rehired in the episode, but it probably happened after Pearl was fired. Then, in the episode Krusty Towers, Squidward quits his job to become a guest at the Krusty Towers. We don't see him get rehired, but he probably was once the Krusty Towers became the Krusty Krab again. After that, in the episode Chum Fricassee, Squidward quit his job at the Krusty Krab, but unlike the other times, this time he actually got a job at the Chum Bucket. This marked the first time when Squidward quit and actually found a new job. Once again, we don't see him get rehired, but he probably was. Then, in the episode Boss for a Day, Squidward quit his job, but unlike any other time, SpongeBob was in charge of the Krusty Krab. This was the only time when Squidward quit his job and SpongeBob was in charge of him. After that, Squidward quit his job in the episode The Play's the Thing, when he believes that he's gonna become famous. But after learning that he actually isn't gonna become famous, he walks back in and takes his position.
I sent him my play and now he's gonna produce it! I quit. We will not be doing your play!
Remember this clip, because it's going to be very important later. Squidward also quit his job in the episode Goodbye Krabby Patty after Mr. Krabs was about to fire him. The interesting part in this episode is that he had his resignation speech ready. Also, Squidward struggled to get a job and was forced to come back to the Krusty Krab. Finally, the biggest example of Squidward quitting his job was in the episode Can You Spare a Dime? In the episode, Squidward is accused of stealing one of Mr. Krabs' dimes. Because of this, Squidward decides to quit his job. As the episode goes on, we learn that Squidward couldn't find a new job and actually became homeless. SpongeBob took him in, but Squidward ended up taking advantage of him. This drove SpongeBob crazy, who forced Mr. Krabs to give Squidward his job back. So in all the episodes, Squidward quit his job only to come back. Only in the episodes Can You Spare a Dime, Goodbye Krabby Patty, and Chum Fricassee did he actually try to find a new job. All the other times, he quit and then just came back a little later. But the reason Squidward was able
The vacation's exactly what this family needs.
Come on, people! The sooner we start this trip, the sooner it's over.
Good luck.
Take a vacation.
able to come back was because he quit his job. If he was fired, then he wouldn't be able to come back and would be forced to look for a new job. Well, Squidward was only fired once in the entire show. The only time Squidward was fired was in the episode Squid on Strike, where he and SpongeBob were fired for planning to go on strike. After being fired, they decided to strike, and after a lot of protesting, Mr. Krabs gave them their jobs back. But while discussing the terms, SpongeBob used everything he'd learned from Squidward and ended up destroying the Krusty Krab. Because of this, Mr. Krabs claimed that the two would work for him forever. And that's it. That's why Squidward can't quit his job, because he and SpongeBob are forced to work for Mr. Krabs for the rest of their lives. Thank you for watching.
That's it?
Is what I would say, if it wasn't for two things. The first is that Squidward has quit his job a ton of times after season 2, without Mr. Krabs really saying anything. The second and even bigger reason is because in the season 9 episode SpongeBob You're Fired, Mr. Krabs fired SpongeBob, which shows that he doesn't really care about what he said back in season 2. Both of these two reasons diminish any claim that the two would have to work for him forever. So then, why can't Squidward find a job whenever he quits the Krusty Krab? Why is he forced to come back? Well, in the episode Goodbye Krabby Patty, Squidward explains that he couldn't follow his dreams because 17 years as a cashier is not good enough.
Apparently, you need more than 17 years behind a cash register to be qualified for dreams.
But this doesn't add up with SpongeBob's story when he was fired. When SpongeBob was fired, he actually got hired by multiple places. So if SpongeBob, who wasn't even born when Squidward was working at the Krusty Krab, can find a job with less experience, then why can't Squidward? What is wrong with him? Is he even trying to find a job? Part 2. Squidward's Desires. What's interesting is that it seems that Squidward isn't even trying to find a job because he wants to keep the job that he hates. After being fired in the episode Squid on Strike, he realizes that he's going to be stuck striking forever for his job with SpongeBob, and so he decides to beg for his job back. Not once does he think about trying to get a new job. Instead, he wants to get his old job back where he has to work with SpongeBob. It's no secret that Squidward hates his job and would leave if he could. Not only do we see this in Squidward's dreams in the episode Squidward's Sick Days, but also Mr. Krabs knows that he hates his job and uses it against him. In the episode Whale Watching, Mr. Krabs uses SpongeBob to threaten Squidward to babysit Pearl. So with all that we know, why would Squidward beg for a job he desperately hates? The only reason he would do so is out of desperation, to make sure that he doesn't go homeless. Or does he? In the season 2 episode Squidville, Squidward moves to a gated community only for squids to get away from SpongeBob and Patrick. But his life starts to get repetitive and he starts to miss the chaos caused by his neighbors. But there's one thing everyone seems to miss. In the montage, we see a total of 14 days go by and not once does Squidward attend his job at the Krusty Krab. On top of that, Squidward misses the chaos caused by SpongeBob and Patrick, meaning he hasn't seen them in 2 weeks. Also, we see Squidward buy canned bread every day. How can he afford it without a job? He bought his house in the community by selling his own house. But how can he afford to buy things when he doesn't have a job? Well, maybe he has savings. His savings would also explain why Squidward went broke after a while in the episode Can You Spare a Dime? He had some savings to live off of while looking for a job, but once they ran out, he became homeless. So it was probably a good thing that Squidward got bored of his life, otherwise he would have run out of money real soon. Also, I thought I would mention that we only see him buy canned bread. Canned bread doesn't scream gourmet food. Sounds more like ramen for broke college students. In other words, Squidward can't afford real bread. That's kinda depressing. So now we know that Squidward needs a job to survive, but why can't he get any other job? Why does he have to work at the
Krusty? Like they already explained it to us. Bad experience. Cashier for 17 years.
Krusty Krab.
The amateur.
Like that's crazy. You being that you're at a job for a long time, bro.
Next, the amateur is one of the most exciting spy thrillers.
Part 3. Why the Krusty Krab? In the episode Goodbye Krabby Patty, Squidward quits his job after getting fired. After storming out, he comes back needing his job, claiming that 17 years as a cashier is not good enough to do anything. But we already know this isn't a good excuse because SpongeBob's gotten multiple job offers after getting fired. Some of the places Squidward could work in Bikini Bottom are Diners, the Bargain Mart, or Fancy, the Fancy.
Oh, he's right. So I guess his own personality.
Restaurant. One important thing about the Fancy restaurant was in the episode The Big Switch. Basically, in the episode, SpongeBob gets traded to the Fancy restaurant for a gourmet chef for the Krusty Krab. But why would Mr. Krabs trade SpongeBob? Why not Squidward? Before we even go there, let me address something really quickly that I know will flood the comments if I don't. Yes, I'm aware that it's a chef exchange program, but Squidward can also cook Krabby Patties. In the episode Employee of the Month or Bubble Buddy, Squidward cooks Krabby Patties perfectly. In the episode Breath of Fresh Squidward, Mr. Krabs claims that Squidward is as good a cook as SpongeBob.
That's crazy.
He might be as good a fry cook as you.
And this shows because in the episode SpongeBob Long Pants, Squidward replaces SpongeBob after he gets long pants. While I personally don't agree that flipping burgers makes you a chef, when SpongeBob goes there, the only thing he can do is make Krabby Patties. Squidward would have been just as useful as him. So why would Mr. Krabs send SpongeBob, his loyal and underpaid chef, to the fancy restaurant in the exchange program instead of Squidward? Does Mr. Krabs maybe need Squidward? Part 4. Mr. Krabs' needs. Squidward was most likely Mr. Krabs' first employee. He's been working at the Krusty Krab since before SpongeBob and even before Jim, who was the first fry cook mentioned in the episode The Original Fry Cook. But none of this explains why Mr. Krabs needs Squidward. Well, there might be two reasons you guys are thinking of. Either it's because of the Krabby Patty secret formula, or because he's the successor of the Krusty Krab. So since Squidward was the first employee of the Krusty Krab, he surely knows the secret formula. He's made the Krabby Patties, there's no way he doesn't know what's inside of them, right? It's probably the reason Krabs wants to keep Squidward under any circumstances. Well, surprisingly, he actually doesn't.
Squidward owns a part of the Krusty Krab.
In the episode Sweet and Sour Squid, Plankton tries to learn the formula from Squidward. But by the end of the episode, Squidward reveals that he actually doesn't know the ingredients of the Krabby Patty, despite working there for 20 years.
You work in the same place for 20 years and you've never noticed the ingredients of the sole item on your menu?
So it can't be the reason Krabs wants to keep Squidward. The other reason Krabs might want to keep Squidward is because Squidward is supposed to be the successor to Mr. Krabs. In the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, Squidward was crowned the manager of the Krusty Krab 2 instead of SpongeBob. Because of this, it seems that Mr. Krabs wants to keep Squidward around to give him the restaurant in the future. But this all gets thrown out the window by the end of the movie when Mr. Krabs gives the job to SpongeBob. And this isn't even the main reason Krabs would never hand off the restaurant to Squidward. Have you guys ever noticed that Mr. Krabs never really respected Squidward? In episodes like The Big Switch, Chum Fricassee, or Out of the Picture, Mr. Krabs disrespected Squidward so badly to the point where he would never give him the restaurant in a million years.
I don't value you at all.
Well, there's one more thing we haven't considered: Squidward's paycheck. Mr. Krabs can pay Squidward next to nothing and he'll tolerate it. Because of this, Squidward can't be replaced, because Krabs can get away with paying him next to nothing. Compare that to anyone else who's worked in Squidward's position and you'll see just how important he is to Mr. Krabs. In the episode Summer Job, Mrs. Puff worked at the Krusty Krab for free for destroying the restaurant. During this time, Squidward was
because when you work like a minimum wage job, they make you do everything, bro.
Given the summer off, but Mrs. Puff left just a few hours after because her own boyfriend was trying to exploit her. Then, in the episode Squid on Strike, a bunch of teenagers worked in place of Squidward and SpongeBob after they went on strike, but they were fired once Mr. Krabs couldn't deal with them any longer. Old Man Walker also worked one of Squidward's shifts in the episode Pineapple Harvey. If he was even being paid, he was probably paid the same as Squidward. The difference is that he was struggling in his job. SpongeBob also worked the register many times. One of the examples was in the episode Squid's Day Off, but being the fry cook, he couldn't do both things. Mr. Krabs also worked the register in the episode Squiditis after SpongeBob and Squidward got sick. He struggled to keep the restaurant going after both of his employees left. Patrick also worked the register in the episode Big Pink Loser, where it was revealed that he was paying Mr. Krabs $50 an hour just to work there.
And at $50 an hour too. When I started working here, I had to pay Mr. Krabs $100 an hour.
Even though Krabs would love that deal, Patrick just couldn't run the register. Larry the Lobster also worked as a cashier in the Krusty Krab in the episode Larry the Floor Manager when Mr. Krabs goes on vacation. He did it out of the goodness of his heart, but he did end up trying to change the entire restaurant to be more healthy. Believe it or not, Plankton has also worked at the Krusty Krab in the episode Chum Caverns when Mr. Krabs forced him to work the register because Squidward wasn't there. Obviously, Plankton won't work for Krabs in the long term. Another person who worked the register at the Krusty Krab was Stanley in the episode Stanley as SquarePants, who's SpongeBob's cousin. In the episode, Stanley destroyed everything he touched, so clearly Krabs wasn't going to keep him for too long. The last person on this list is Karen, who worked as a cashier in the episode Karen 2.0 until her and Plankton settled their differences. She was being paid nothing, which is interesting because despite getting a free cashier, he still didn't let go of Squidward. Why would a cheapskate like Krabs keep paying Squidward when he doesn't need him? The only reason he would do so is because he knows that he can pay him next to nothing and exploit him for his work. From everyone else he's hired, he knows no one else would dehumanize themselves to the extent Squidward does. Because of this, Krabs keeps Squidward no matter what. Just to give a few more examples, in the episode Can You Spare a Dime, Mr. Krabs doesn't fire Squidward after thinking he stole his dime. After all the ruckus he made about his dime, the only reason he would do so is to hold on to Squidward. Another example was in the episode Krusty Chronosaries, where Mr. Krabs doesn't let Squidward die in peace so he can work him tonight. But the best example was in the episode Yeti Krabs, where Mr. Krabs admits that he's trying to get a full day's worth of work out of Squidward despite there being no
What's this about?
Rolling.
Number one.
work to do.
Nah, he's the worst. This is the worst type of manager you can get if you guys that type of shit, bro. Like, it'll be chill. They'll come out of nowhere trying to figure out something to do. Like, chill, bro.
Problem is that you
It's not your
aren't
bread.
working, which means I lose MUNEE. You get back to minding that register. Minding it for which customer?
One final piece of information to really wrap this up was in the episode The Original Fry Cook, where Squidward doesn't mind getting paid very little because he's waiting for his music career to take off.
No thanks. I'm just doing this until my clarinet career takes off.
Also, remember this clip because it's going to be very important later. As we see in the episode, when Jim asks for a raise, he gets laughed out of the room and eventually quits. So Squidward is still being paid what he was being paid nearly 20 years ago when he first started working at the Krusty Krab. If Squidward had the balls to quit, he too could have had a career like Jim, but sadly, he's not as talented or brave as Jim is. Because of this, Squidward is a perfect guy for Mr. Krabs to exploit. It's clear why Mr. Krabs would want
That makes sense.
to keep Squidward. But does Squidward want to stay at the Krusty Krab? Part 5. Squidward's Wants. From the get-go, we've known Squidward always wanted a career with his clarinet. However, due to being less successful, he's tried his hands at art and dance as well. But he's failed nearly every step of the way. He can only blame himself. Or can he? In episodes like Suction Cup Symphony, Artist Unknown, Band Geeks, Squidward Tentacle Pants, Best Day Ever, and The
Day
Patty
Ever.
Caper, Squidward succeeds in his artistic dreams. Does that mean that Squidward is actually talented and in reality people like his work? Well, no. In other episodes like I Heart Dancing, Choir Boys, Are You Happy Now, and Snooze You Lose, Squidward shows no talent in what he does. So does that mean he sucks? Well, there's one interesting thing in the episode Best Day Ever that might explain everything. After Squidward does a brilliant concert, Patrick makes fun of Squidward for not knowing how to play the clarinet.
Don't let those sour notes bring you down.
This would explain that people hate Squidward because he's Squidward, not because of his music.
Since when do you give two shrimps about customer service, Mr. Grouchy Squid Guy?
We see more of this
Damn.
in the episode Slimy Dancing and especially in the episode Squidward. Squidward does something everyone hates, but then SpongeBob does the exact same thing and suddenly everyone loves it. They hate his performance because he's Squidward. And this would explain the endings to a lot of episodes, because episodes like Suction Cup Symphony, Artist Unknown, Band Geeks, and Best Day Ever all ended with Squidward succeeding in the industry yet nothing ever coming of it. Because he's Squidward, nothing will ever come of anything no matter what he does. But there might be one more reason, another person who's causing Squidward not to succeed in the arts. That's right, Mr. Krabs. We already know that Krabs wants to exploit Squidward, and to do so, Squidward can't be successful enough to leave the restaurant. And do you remember the first clip?
I sent him my play, and now he's gonna produce it. I quit.
But would he go out of his way to destroy Squidward's career just to force him to stay? Well, surprisingly, yes.
If you two do find that clarinet, could you bring it to me so I can smash it to pieces?
In the episode Culture Shock and The Play's the Thing, Mr. Krabs commercializes the hate towards Squidward after people want to throw things at him for his performance. But there's actually more than just that. In the episode The Masterpiece, Mr. Krabs has Squidward make a sculpture of him, not telling him what the sculpture is going to be used for. By the end of the episode, Mr. Krabs changes his mind and doesn't display the sculpture he made, making it harder for Squidward to get noticed. But the biggest example of Krabs sabotaging Squidward was in the episode Hello Bikini Bottom. In the episode, Squidward and SpongeBob get picked up as a musical duo by Colonel Caper, who's a band manager.
seen this
Just as they start to dream of fame and success, Mr. Krabs comes out of nowhere and takes over as their manager to get in on the money. If he didn't do that, then SpongeBob and Squidward would have become really successful. Because of his greed, not only did he hurt his own chances of becoming rich, but he also sabotages Squidward's career.
So you need to grow
Damn.
relationships at your top accounts.
Cheap ass
Don't guess
nigga.
who's who. Get right to the right.
Damn,
And do you
son.
remember the clip from before?
No thanks. I'm just doing this until my clarinet career takes off.
If Squidward doesn't make it big, then he can never leave the Krusty Krab. The real kicker is that this was Squidward's first chance to make it big, and Krabs sabotaged it. And this isn't crazy because in the same episode, Mr. Krabs is surprised to see that Squidward and SpongeBob pulled a crowd with their music. Now it may seem a bit far-fetched, and I'll leave it up to your judgment. What is 100% true though, is that Mr. Krabs has made it so Squidward can't quit. He's put him in a cycle, and the cycle goes as follows. First, Squidward quits his job, hoping he makes it big in the arts. Then he fails to get anything done in the industry. After being denied from music, he can't find a job because the people hate him. Because he can't find a job, he has to come back to the Krusty Krab. Mr. Krabs knows he can't leave and exploits his services. The cycle goes every time Squidward gets the idea to quit. Because of this, we see Squidward get scared whenever Mr. Krabs threatens to fire him.
Dead till you're fired. You got it, Mr. Krabs.
This would also explain sometimes when Squidward is actually happy to be fired. Those might be the moments when he actually wants to pursue his music career, but he's just needing that little push.
So, I'm fired? No more taking orders? No more interacting with customers? No more SpongeBob?
But Mr. Krabs might not just be sabotaging Squidward's music career. In the episode Whatever Happened to SpongeBob, Mr. Krabs says that Squidward will be out of a job forever if he doesn't help find SpongeBob.
If you don't find him, you'll be out of a job forever.
When he says that, I think he doesn't just mean the Krusty Krab, but also from all of Bikini Bottom. Mr. Krabs has decided to ruin Squidward's life for his own gain. By sabotaging his music and professional career, he's made sure that Squidward is stuck in a loop which always leads him back to the Krusty Krab. I think Mr. Krabs saw just how successful Jim became and made sure that no other employee had the balls to leave and become more successful than him. It's depressing, but it seems that we'll never know if Squidward gets out of the Krusty Krab and makes it big.
I be feeling like that sometimes
maybe
too.
we
I'm not
do
gonna
know.
lie. I'm not gonna lie, I be feeling like that sometimes. Like, I be trying to find a new job. I do not want to quit. I mean, I make good money on it, but not good, but good enough. It's just nah. I've been there for too long. I want something new. In the season 14 episode PL1413, Plankton goes 2,000 years in the future. As he's exploring the future, Karen tells him about what happened to Squidward. Squidward did end up becoming a famous musician, but only after his passing, meaning that he suffered the rest of his life in the Krusty Krab. It's a depressing ending, but thank you for watching. Damn. See, it be the people around you. But it is what it is, man. If you made it to the end of the video, you obviously like the video, so you obviously gotta subscribe. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. We are on the road to 1,300 subs, man.